Hi, everyone, and welcome once again to First Look. That's like Just Jack on Will and Grace. You know, I have two very unenthusiastic participants today, but that's okay. This is the Chris Dinan. I think you might have met him yesterday. I mentioned his Canadian heritage.
But you're not holding it against me.
Yeah, exactly. And he says about a lot. Oh, Katie, you may not want to come right now unless you want to be a part of First Look. Anyway, Bill Owens is back. We missed him terribly the last few days, but he was able to attend the memorial service in London, which was an important thing because you worked with the cameraman. I
worked with Paul Douglas quite a bit, and I had met James Brolan, but I knew Paul, and he was a terrific guy, and it was a really nice, as the London Bureau put it, it was a Thanksgiving for their life and their work, and I got to spend some time with their family, and it was really a moving ceremony and a nice celebration afterwards.
Yeah, I was so sorry I didn't get a chance to meet or work with either of them. And you know when you see a picture of someone in a photograph, Paul looked like someone who had so much joie de vivre and, you know, was a big, strong guy, and he looked like he was game for just about anything. Did I get that right?
You got that dead right, yeah. He was a great guy. He was a great cameraman. He was a terrific guy. He was a terrific journalist. He was really the kind of person who, wherever you were, in Iraq or London, he always had really good ideas about what the story was, how you should go about it, and he worked incredibly hard. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, he had put in a very full day of work. And he'll really be missed, as will James. But it was a really fitting tribute. I think they would have been pleased.
So you're back now, probably a little jet lagged, and no, a little bit.
I wasn't there long enough to be jet lagged.
Yeah, that's true.
So
you probably never got
onto
a different schedule. But North Korea is the big story today because sanctions are coming down the pipeline, as it were.
That's right.
So we're going to be focusing on that. And Alan Pizzi actually went to the DMZ, which Chris earlier called the DMV, but he actually renewed his license before he went to the DMZ. And so we have an interesting piece on that because there's some fascinating things, I guess, that he witnessed when he was there, right, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's going to be an interesting piece. There's a really interesting photo that kind of tells the difference between, well, the North and South Koreas. It's a satellite image that shows at night, that shows the illumination of Southern Korea, showing all the energy, the power, the light, and North Korea is virtually dark. There's like one little speck of light. It shows just how, you know, backwards
in the dark
they've
been. In fact, someone was mentioning to me yesterday that the people of North Korea have actually shrunk in size and are much more diminutive, where the rest of the world's population is growing larger and taller and bigger, which is kind of a strange reverse evolutionary process going on there because of the poverty. I think that's interesting, don't you? Mm-hmm. Anyway, just a quick aside.
Another aside, Chris Dinan, proud Canadian. Alan Pizzi at the DMZ, proud Canadian.
Oh, Canada. Can we have a moment of silence, please, for our northern brothers?
Our friends just to the north.
Yes. Okay. All right. We're also doing a couple of other things. We might be focusing on shuffling off to Buffalo, and they're shoveling off in Buffalo.
That's right. 2 feet of snow.
Clever girl.
Beginning of October, and there's 150,000 people without power. And they'll probably be without power for half a week, they're estimating right now. But 2 feet of snow. It's the middle of October.
Yeah. And we've got a few other things we're working on, including a roundtable discussing an issue that's been sort of in the ether for a long time, and yet everybody's wringing their hands over it, but they can't figure out what the solution is. And so we're going to spend a little time talking to some experts to say what should be done next. Is that oblique enough?
It is. That's
and then
good tease.
I see that we're doing Barack Obama. Are we doing Barack because he's a very impressive, very passionate speaker? I thought his free speech sort of missed, personally, because it was so benign. Am I allowed to say that on First Look? Because he's a very passionate person about a lot of different issues. For example, faith and politics. And I was disappointed in this free speech because it seemed to me he took the very easy way and kind of non-controversial way out. But I'll have to discuss that with Mark Rosenwasser. He's going to be on the cover of Time, or is on the cover of Time, because doesn't Time come out now on Fridays?
Yeah. the magazine gets delivered Sunday, but you can see it on Fridays. I
thought it
if
came
I
out-
may,
Yeah, go ahead.
I actually
do you
think
beg to differ?
I do. I beg to differ because I think
Ooh.
he's talking about energy. We'll just leave it there, and it is a topic that I think people are talking more about with climate change, et cetera, and it's such a huge issue.
I agree, but I just feel like he offers really no solution. It just basically says we have to focus on alternative energy sources, but that's kind of a duh to me, personally. You know, we can deal with this after the camera turns off so I can slap you around.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm kidding. But we can discuss it, and obviously it's been penciled in, but, you know, we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, we have a...
Doesn't sound like it's getting on TV tonight.
That's not true. That's not true. It's a very collaborative process, truly.
Yes, it is.
You know,
It is.
they make fun of me and call me managing editor and stuff, but it's really a team effort, and we all sit down and talk about things, and it's, you know, there have been no huge shouting matches just yet. I mean, all that might change today,
That's
but
true. I don't think over this one, but maybe.
yeah.
You should turn the camera on just for a second. Look
What
at
are they
what
doing
happens
out
when
there?
you shoot first look. You know, the kids out there who should be on the phone digging up stories are making fun of us. How about that?
I think that you should correct that. They're making fun of you.
They're gonna get they're smart enough not to make fun of you, but they will
That's
get in
not
trouble
true.
after class
That's
today.
not true. Anyway, so we're going on. These first looks are getting too long, I'm afraid.
But I think they're at least people watch them, right, Michael?
They do.
Well, okay, that's
All right.
it. Anyway,
Have a good
all right,
weekend.
have a great weekend. We hope you watch the show tonight, and that's it for this edition of First Look.